Parliamo della carità al termine quasi del percorso educativo di quest'anno.
We will speak of charity
Abbiamo riflettuto sul dono della
at the end of this educational year,
e parlare della carità significa
in which we have been reflecting on the gift of communion.
ciò che esiste di più alto.
To speak of charity is to speak of what exists higher and deeper.
Nostra di più banale. Usiamo la parola
Sometimes,
per dire di aver fatto
because of us, more obvious.
Usiamo la parola carità per dire genericamente
We use the word charity to say, I did alms. We use the word charity generically to say that we need to attempt to set up good relations with our neighbor.
e per riferirci alle persone a cui vogliamo più bene,
We use charity
intendendo la parola proprio
to
come
refer to the people
la natura cristiana dell'amore.
we love the best,
E poi usiamo
meaning the
la
word
parola carità,
as the Christian nature of love.
chi è Dio, come è fatto.
And then we use it even to say, who is God?
Questa
How is He made?
splendida rivelazione cristiana che ci dice che il
This
nostro
wonderful
Dio
Christian revelation
è carità, è amore.
tells us that our God is
Dobbiamo
charity,
pensare proprio
is love.
una persona tutta amante,
We have to
tutta
think
amata, tutta amore.
that one person,
Essere tutta amante,
all
tutta
loving,
amata non basta una persona,
all loved, all love.
le persone di
But to be all loved and loving, one person is not enough. It takes people of God,
poi pensare che tutto quello che
who are all
esiste
love one for
esiste
another.
all'interno di questo.
And then we think that everything that exists
E poi dobbiamo
exist
cercare la strada
within this
per
relationship.
impararlo, questo amore, per poterlo vivere,
Then we must find the way
per
to learn
lasciare
this
che
love,
l'amore di Dio ci
to be able to
ferisca
live
il
it,
cuore, la mente, e che
to let the love of God
attraverso il
wound the
significato
heart and mind,
questo è
and that through us is incarnated for others.
progetto di Dio.
This is
Ora per
the great plan of God.
spiegarvelo più familiarmente,
Now, to explain
permetto di
this with
raccontarvi
more
quello che è
familiarity,
avvenuto a Palermo questo.
allow me to tell you what happened in Palermo
Dovevo
on this past Good Friday.
predicare un ritiro agli studenti, ai nostri
I
studenti.
had to preach at a retreat
Il venerdì
to the
santo,
students
prima della Via Crucis. Quindi ci siamo
before the
ritrovati
Mass
al
of Good
mattino.
Friday.
E è chiaro che fin dal giorno precedente erano una trentina di
We
ragazzi.
were there in the morning.
E fin dal giorno
There were
prima
about 30 young
il
people.
mio problema era che cosa devo
And starting from the day before
dire,
Friday,
cosa è importante
my
dire.
first small problem
Chiaro
was,
che la verità è
what
sempre la
is
stessa,
important to say?
ma ogni volta deve essere nuovo
It is
il
clear
modo di
that the truth is always the
comunicarla.
same,
E,
but
diciamo,
each time it has to be in a new way to communicate it, to reach people's
allora
hearts.
riflettevo che tema scelgo. E
So I'm
mentre
reflecting,
sono in questo travaglio
what theme will I
interiore,
choose?
diciamolo,
And while I'm in this
sento
interior
sfidare il telefono,
difficulty,
mi giunge un video, uno di questi che vengono
a
mandati,
greeting
ma così,
comes to me in the format of a video.
Questo video dura 3 minuti. Ci
I
sono
watched this
tutti,
video, lasts about 3 minutes.
diciamo, scene della vita di Gesù,
There are
prese da
these
tutti i film a
scenes
lui dedicati, non so,
involving
il Vangelo
Jesus
secondo
from
San
his
Matteo
life,
di Pasolini,
taken from the films
La
dedicated to
Passione
him.
di Mel Gibson, il film di Zeffirelli,
There are many faces of
altri film,
Jesus,
no? Quindi molti
The
volti
Passion
Gesù,
from Mel
alcuni
Gibson,
sofferenti, alcuni
many
gloriosi,
beautiful films.
le scene più belle, la chiamata dei discepoli, l'incontro con la Maddalena, cioè alcune
Obviously, the
molto
most
belle.
beautiful scenes.
La cosa particolare, forse qualcuno di voi l'ha ricevuto, quindi l'ha visto, la cosa particolare era, diciamo, la colonna sonora.
The particular thing
La colonna sonora del video
was that the soundtrack,
era l'ultimo successo.
was from the Sanremo Film Festival, the last successful
E
song,
allora continuavi a sentire queste
called
parole,
A Great Love.
l'amore, con queste immagini che scorrevano.
And I was listening to these
Ho
words
deciso di
with these images that
chiedere
were going
a un
by
ragazzo
on this
di
video.
prepararsi, di proiettarlo,
So I decided
e l'ho mostrato.
to
E poi riguardavo.
to do a little project with the young people, with the students. And then I was watching them. Somebody was moved. Someone was puzzled. Someone else was trying to figure out where we were going. Now I will tell you how we handled this discussion. So think about the images of Jesus in your mind, and I will read a few words of the song. It's a simple song. The words say this: tell me why when I think, I only think of you. Tell me when I see only you. Tell me when I believe only in you. Tell me that you will never leave me. Tell me who you are, breath of my days. Tell me that you know that you will only choose me. Now you know, you're my one great love. Love, you are my love forever for me. Tell me why when I think, I just think of you. Tell me why when I love only you. Tell me why I live only for you. Great love. Tell me you'll never leave me. Tell me you are who you are, breath of my days. Tell me you know I do not ever be wrong. Tell me who you are my only love. So then I said to the students, I told them, now it is you who must answer. You who love these songs and sing them. You have to tell me, in what conditions such words, we can even take them from other beautiful love songs. What conditions such words can be true? They have a very profound truth. However, but from another point of view, they are as untrue because they're impossible to realize. To tell a person, when I think only of you. How do we not see that our mind is crowded with many concerns, many banal things, so many pictures, worries? So when I see only you, but even just seeing you, this will produce other images. When I say, tell me you won't ever leave me, and when I live only in you. These words have truth. Under what conditions can these words be true? How can they become true, these words? Think about it. If a person really loves you, it's clear these words come immediately to their lips. These words we can even find written on walls by lovers. But which conditions? When a person says, when I think only of you. When I love only you. Under what conditions is this true? And the students were trying to find answers. I won't tell you everything, but in the end, we put them all together, their answers, and the answer had 3 levels. The first level was this. Since these words of love are totally and absolutely true, and they must tell God, a God made flesh, that I can look in the eyes and I can touch, and has to say to me, only to me, that I am unique to the world. When I see only you. When I think only of you. When I love only you. I'll never leave you. These have to be told to me by God. This is exactly the fundamental teaching of Saint Teresa of the Child Jesus, when she writes that God treats each of us as if we were unique in the world and harmonizes the whole universe for the good of each soul. If I think of this God, of all loving, all the Creator, that I thought, He thought and wanted me, totally me in a moment of time, like I was unique in the world, and this applies to each one of them. If I think of this, then the words are completely true. Only in this hypothesis. And then we have the poets, the lovers. They enjoy, they rejoice to say these things. But from where do they take them out? They take them out from an ancient science of love that every man carries in his heart, even when he does not know it. And then there's the second level, where these words are real words. Well, they are a little less true, however, true in their substance. So the second level, where these words are a little true, let's say, these words are true when gradually, when I understand my God, my Jesus, who loves me completely, and when He thinks only of me, when He loves, just loves me, and He will never leave me, I will try to respond and restore the same words with my littleness, with my poverty, with my incompleteness. Because St. John of the Cross says that anyone who is loved has the right to love as He is loved. He says, if God loves you infinitely, He gives you the right, with thank you, with grace, to return to love Him infinitely. Since you are a creature of God of necessity, you must make yourself become like Him. You must make yourself God. Because if He loves you infinitely, then He decided, I have the right to... It is the right to love as I have been loved. This seems like a play on words, but if you think it, and you think it by thinking of God and the absolute truth of the words, He loves me infinitely, and then I have the right to love Him infinitely. If my heart cries and says, Lord, I cannot do it, I am too small, I am easy to forget it. He must help me. And this explains the truth of Jesus. And this explains the passion of Jesus. And this explains the resurrection of Jesus. He must help me, because at the end of the journey, I can love Him as He loves me. These words are totally true if He says to me, in the name of the Father, and His name and the Holy Ghost, and if I learn slowly, as a child learns, over the years, the situations, the difficulty of circumstances, penalties of sins, to learn to return to these words, to be able to say to Him, knowing that this will be paradise. It will be the day when He will tell me, and I will understand and feel all of them, and I will have joy. It is eternity in which I might say them again to Him, and the same truth and depth with which he tells me. And then there is the third level of truth. It's difficult to understand. The third level of truth is when I, as a person, I tell people whom I love, according to the bonds that I have with them, the husband to his wife, parents to children, the friend to the friend. That is, when these words we exchange them between us in the right way, in a small way, suddenly fragile, not always full, and yet sacramental. All of it as a sign within the great plan of God. I repeat. The words of the song are easy. When I think only of you. When I see only you. When I believe only you. Don't leave me ever. You are my only great love. But at what conditions are they true? When a God is made flesh, comes to tell them to me. When I learn, or I want to learn, to give them back with the same fullness. When I can exchange them with people that I trust, that I want well. Then these words have value. These words have value, slow, patient, a sacramental pedagogy. They become true. In the way the love of God may be in all, and everything is found again in the heart of God. So this is what I said to the students on Good Friday. Now, let's ask ourselves this discussion. How was it lived in the church? There is a very simple sentence that we Carmelites must love, almost as for its structure, because it is the cry of Teresa, the girl, when she tells the little brother, I want to see God. The Catechism of the Catholic Church takes this phrase and puts it at the end, saying, this is the desire of every human heart, to see God. And when we will watch the show that will be presented at Brescia, the show called The Castle in the Heart, you will see the scene where Teresa remembers when she is playing with her little brother in the sense of the eternal, and all of the desire that was growing inside her to see it until reaching the end of her life, saying, Lord, now we see ourselves and unite. The Church understood that it is to see God. In this pedagogy of desire to see God and the practice of seeing the saints, that is, people who have taken more seriously the need to see God, the saints quickly realized that God has a logic. And this logic cannot be upset, and it is this. The most beautiful face of God, the one that you will never stop to contemplate, to penetrate in its beauty, in its mystery, and his secret.
polacco che poi diventa un santo della carità, uno dei più bei ECO, va bene? Ecco, quella bellezza del volto velato, sofferente di Cristo. I santi hanno capito che tutto questo discorso,
the beauty of the suffering face of Christ.
E poi lo devi distribuire
He loves you totally.
La pedagogia tranquilla, quotidiana, degli affetti familiari, però se tu non impari a vedere Gesù,
so this is daily pedagogy. But if you do not learn to see Jesus in the faces of those who suffer,
senza mai aver visto il volto di Cristo.
you risk going through life
Perché il volto di Cristo ha
without
mostrato
ever
tutta
seeing
la
the
sua
face of Christ.
intensità, tutta la sua bellezza, tutto il suo amore.
Because
per te,
the face of Christ, in fact, showed all his beauty
E qui
and
abbiamo
all
delle
his love
esperienze
for you,
in questi giorni.
exactly as the
Sto
suffering
scrivendo
face.
qualcosa sui Santi della Misericordia, perché mi è stato chiesto per il prossimo video, ma
And here in these days, I'm writing some things about the saints,
sono stati particolarmente delicati su questo.
and there are some
Santi
saints
poco conosciuti, cioè noi li abbiamo
who were very sensitive about
fatti,
this.
sarebbe il caso che andaste a prendere proprio
Even some
ricordate
saints
qual era
that
l'idea,
are little less known.
anche gli scritti di Vladimir Kika, nobile rumeno. che
So
poi
think
fu
of
prigioniero
Vladimir
dai
Kika, the Romanian noble
80 anni,
who then was put in
della
prison
sua vita ingenua,
by the communists.
confortando tutti i prigionieri come un vecchio
He
nonno.
finished his life in prison, comforting the other prisoners.
Diceva, si tratta di una liturgia. Quando tu
He was saying,
prendi cura di una persona sofferente,
it is about a
sia un
liturgy.
malato, che sia un povero, che
When you
ce l'abbia
take
in
care of a
ospedale,
person
che ce l'abbia in
suffering,
casa, che lo trovi per strada,
whether sick or poor, that you could have at home or in the hospital, that you find on the street.
pensate come insiste,
When you get close to a person suffering,
vicini anche per farne l'elemosina, toccagli le mani,
think about how our Pope insists about this,
guardalo in faccia. Vabbè.
to
Quando dice
touch
tutti,
people,
un cristiano
to
si
look
avvicina
at
un po',
people,
accade una
to
liturgia
humanize
del
the jesters.
Cioè Cristo va
So he says,
incontro a Cristo,
when a person gets close to a person suffering, a liturgy happens next.
va incontro a
Christ
Cristo che ha bisogno di
encounters
essere aiutato.
Christ.
E i due si incontrano.
Christ, who
Perché
comes to
Cristo
help
incontra
us,
Cristo. Questa è la
encounters Christ, who needs to be helped. And the two meet.
soprattutto quando questa carità
Christ
è data
meets Christ.
alle persone
This is
che
charity. Christ meets
Ci sono,
Christ.
pensate ho scelto santi un po' strani, pensate a un universitario, un giovane universitario di intelligenza straordinaria.
Now think
Potete parlare
of-
di passati, però in questo momento
think
non
of this
penso
young
a
university
Federico Zanardi,
student,
fondatore delle conferenze di San Vincenzo de Paolo, che ha
Frederick
il dramma
Ozanam,
di una Francia che si scristianizza,
with the drama to bring back the
di
pride
riportare la
of the
chiarezza
beauty of the
della-
Christian
della
truth
bellezza
in
della
France,
verità cristiana, fin
that is
quando
converting to
sempre
Christianity.
degli avversari, per così dire, altri universitari che gli deridono e gli dicono: voi cosa fate per gli altri?
So then there were adversaries, other, let's say, university students laugh at him and say, what do you do for others?
Che nel giro di pochi anni diventeranno
So Frederick gathers 8 friends.
dalle prime conferenze
And then
della
in-
carità o conferenze
Within
San
few
Vincenzo de
years,
Paolo,
they become
e lo slogan è
2,000.
questo: dobbiamo
He founded the
mettere
first
la
charity
nostra fede
conference,
al riparo della carità.
and the slogan is this: we must put our faith in the shelter of charity,
Intellettualismo, perché la nostra fede non diventi
because our faith does
teoria,
not become
perché la nostra fede non diventi chiacchiere
theory,
vuote, dobbiamo metterle al riparo della carità.
because our faith does not become empty talk.
La visita a domicilio ai poveri, questi studenti
And then
cristiani che vanno
He began to visit homes of the poor.
come forme di carità sociale. Ma il brano che mi ha impressionato di più, ripeto, sono giorni in cui sto lavorando su questi temi, proprio per la sua umiltà.
But the one that gives me the biggest impression,
Volgarità, che invece è preziosità, è quello
really
di
for
Madre
her
Teresa
humility,
Calcutta, che interrogata da un
is that of Mother Teresa of Calcutta,
madre, qual è
who,
il suo progetto?
when asked by a journalist,
Rispose così:
Mother,
il mio
what is your
progetto ha un
plan?
inizio, ha un centro
She replied,
e ha un compimento.
my project has a beginning,
Inizio.
has a center,
Noi
and has a
cominciamo
completion.
sempre col pulire le latrine.
The center.
Così
We always start
cominciamo ad aprire il nostro
with
cuore.
cleaning latrines.
Vi ho detto che sembrava perfino volgare, vero?
So,
Cioè,
like this, we begin to open our
quando ci
hearts.
troviamo davanti a un bisogno, a persone che hanno quel bisogno, poveri, malati, abbandonati.
So when we
scendiamo
find
sempre-
ourselves
partiamo
in
sempre
front
da
of
ciò che c'è di
a
più
need,
umile, di più
The
sconcertante.
poor, the sick,
Così cominciamo a aprire
we
il
start
nostro
with
cuore.
the most humble
Poi
thing.
il nostro progetto ha un centro.
This is
Io
how we
amo
open our
Gesù con
hearts.
tutto il mio cuore.
Then, the project has a
Gli ho
center.
dato tutto. Anche
I
i
love
miei
Jesus
peccati.
with all my heart.
E lui mi
I
ha
gave him
immerso
everything,
nella tenerezza del
even
suo
my
amore.
sins.
Io gli appartengo tutta.
And he has immersed me in the tenderness of his love.
E poi
I belong to him all now and forever.
Lavorare per la santificazione dei poveri.
And then
Dare a Dio
the
dei
completion.
Diceva
To
che
work for the
se
sanctification of the
stava
poor.
da drogati,
To give
malati,
God the saints.
morenti, bambini,
She said
schiaffati, e
she was
quant'altro,
going
malati,
to
AIDS, solo con uno
the
scopo,
poor,
riempire
the sick,
il paradiso di santi,
handicapped,
cioè riempire il
those who had
paradiso,
AIDS,
gente che
only
moriva
for the purpose of filling
pronunciando
paradise
l'ultima parola della salvezza.
with saints.
Io
She wanted people dying to say,
affido la mia vita.
God, look how I am.
Inizio,
In the hands I commit my spirit.
vedete la carità, un
So,
filo
that
d'oro
is
per
our
così dire,
start,
che può
center,
partire dal
and
luogo più
completion.
umile della terra, una latrina.
So you see, charity is a golden thread that can rise from the most humble of the earth, a latrine,
Raggiunge il cuore dell'altro uomo e va per così dire a
pass through the heart of man,
i seggi gloriosi del paradiso.
reach the heart of another man, and go, so to speak, to the glorious seats of paradise where the saints sit.
E se non affrontiamo questo problema,
This is charity.
vedete, è bello che noi parliamo di caritativa, allora i nostri
And if we
ragazzi
don't confront this problem,
vanno in Romania, quegli altri vanno in Colombia.
it's nice to talk charitable activity.
Primera o qualche altra cosa,
We
va
have
bene,
students who go
tante
to
cose che facciamo,
Colombia,
ma se non
there's
impariamo
the
ad
project
amare
in Mira, many things we do.
verità e con verità, la sofferenza,
But if we do not learn to
tocchiamo con le
love
mani o tocchiamo con gli occhi,
the truth with humility and suffering,
e se contemporaneamente
that which we
tocchiamo
touch
la
with our
sofferenza,
hands or our eyes and our hearts,
e non speriamo la santità,
and while we are
cioè
touching with our hands and eyes, at the same time, if our hearts do not burn a little
anche i nostri viaggi,
and not hope for holiness for all our charities,
delle carità
they are in the worst sense of the time.
del termine.
Otherwise, all of these activities
Come
are
per esempio l'ultima lettera
not
che
so important.
Davide ha mandato, Davide ha mandato, che parla di Gesù. Ecco, allora lì il cuore si allarga. Perché
If I think
possiamo
of
percorrere il mondo
Davide
intero,
Piva's letter that speaks of
possiamo fare
Jesus,
tutto. Ma se il
then the
cuore
heart
impara a
enlarges.
battere per Cristo,
We can travel the
in qualche
world,
modo c'è come
but if the heart does not learn to beat for
non
Christ,
sufficiente immersione nella realtà.
somehow there is not a sufficient immersion in reality.
Poi possiamo prendere con la stessa serietà gli insegnamenti,
That said,
diciamo, tranquilli,
we can take as seriously the
del testo di
teachings
scuola del cristianesimo
that are the text of the school of Christianity.
ve li sottolineo soltanto perché poi possiate lavorarci su.
I will stress them here only so that you can work with them. Christ wants to be recognized by us, contemplated and loved in this depth. It is the depth of the needs of the suffering. The initial recognition must simply come in the family environment. What do a husband, a wife, a child, a parent, a grandparent become in the views and the heart? That is, in the sacred mystery of their personal belonging to Jesus. What does a home become where this contemplation happens, even if patiently, silently? It is not difficult to see that even our families suffer the fragility that surrounds the whole world. The effort to love yourself, the effort to be faithful, the effort to forgive, the effort to put up with things, the effort to carry the burdens of one another. But I think in everything we say and what we do, from the school of Christianity to meeting in small groups, to the Mass, to the sacraments, prayer, how can we not understand that everything has a person, purpose, that everything tends to one thing, Jesus. You see Him, you look at Him, you realize that you look on the face of your husband, your wife, your children. What are you willing to give them? Is it possible? On the question of character and patientness, to treat people badly. Is it possible that the small weaknesses, these, let's say, the small dirt on the face, that is it possible they prevent us so much from seeing the face of Jesus? There was a saint who kneeled before the sick person and was able. Is it possible that we cannot clean the faces of loved ones? Is it possible that we cannot clean the faces of loved ones from the slaps, from the spit, from the thorns that disfigure them? Because we are used to seeing the face of Jesus. Have we not learned this? Have they not said this? Have we not celebrated this every Good Friday? Why do we not give the world the witness that one is in love with the crucified Christ? That nothing can disturb him any more in love, because there is no more room to say, you do not deserve love. And then the reasoning that we do, in part for the family, we can amplify it, we can do it for the people we work with whom we are in contact with, the neighbors, with people who bother us, with those who help us, with those who are good and those who are bad, and so on and so on. The Christian is one who loves Christ, and like all lovers, is able to see Him anywhere. This is the theme of charity. And then,
Questo è il tema
And then
della
on page
carità.
124 of the text,
Poi,
you can find some formulations
124 del
that you
testo,
can use for your own
troverete
discussions and your own
alcune
groups.
5-6 formulazioni.
The more
che
we love
potete
Christ,
usare benissimo anche per le
the more his
discussioni,
person is alive
per
and real.
l'elenco così semplicemente.
The more we love Christ, the more we feel loved by him.
Più la sua persona ci
The more we
diventa
love
viva e
Christ,
cara.
the more we love ourselves for the
Più
fact that
amiamo
we belong
Cristo,
to
più ci
him.
sentiamo amati da
The
Lui.
more we love Christ, the more we
Più
love
amiamo
others,
Cristo, più
any
amiamo
other,
noi stessi,
because he
per il
loves
fatto
them.
di appartenere.
The more we love Christ,
Più
the more
amiamo
we love
Cristo,
reality.
più amiamo gli altri,
It is the
ogni
material
altro,
to build
perché
his
Lui
kingdom.
più amiamo Cristo,
The more
più
we know
amiamo
and
la
love
realtà,
Christ, the more we want to know
perché
and
la
love.
realtà è la materia per costruire il suo regno. Più conosciamo
Now
e
in
amiamo
conclusion,
Cristo, più desideriamo farlo conoscere e farlo amare.
when one speaks of love
Questo è in breve
or talks of people,
la riflessione che a termine del nostro cammino facciamo sulla carità.
love in the name of people,
Dicevo,
one talks about empty sentimentally.
lo formula come
The person is you,
quando si parla
you are
di
in
amore,
front of me as you,
o
and the
si parla di
mystery
persone.
that I have to know you, what you know about me.
È il nome della
God
persona.
loves you infinitely
O se no,
to the point that he gave his son for you and for me.
E la persona sei tu davanti a me così come sei, nel mistero che io ho di sapere di te quello che so di me, che Dio ti ama infinitamente al punto che ha dato suo figlio per te e per me. Sia lodato.